Hi, I'm Jody McMahon, and tonight on Paul Schinkel's Inner Tube, we'll be speaking with Jack Goldstein. Jack is an artist who is now involved in working in some alternative media. He makes records and films and some other things. That was one of his records, which you just heard, of 2 wrestling cats. Jack, how did you first become interested in making records?
Well, the records are an extension of my films, and the first record I made was a German Shepherd, and that was the soundtrack was taken from the actual film of a German Shepherd barking. And what I tried to do with the records was break down the sounds in my films and treat the sounds as objects in themselves. So in the case of the red record with the German Shepherd, it was like the actual red of the record implies the nature of a German Shepherd, and the soundtrack of the bark sort of implies the feeling of that dog. So it's like the bark comes before the dog.
What was the film of the German Shepherd like that this evolved from?
Well, the film of the German Shepherd was a shot of a German Shepherd, a shot of its head, and it was a trained dog, and it was against a black backdrop, and I had the dog tinted red, and the dog is like barking at the viewer, and
how long is the film?
It's 3 minutes long. And so the film is very much about itself, very much about the dog.
All your records then are they all animals? No.
No. But they're all about images that can't be controlled in some way, like a swim against the tide, or the burning forest, the dying wind, the tornado, the lost ocean liner, 3 felled trees, and a faster run.
And each one is a different color?
Yeah, each particular record, the color of each particular record relates to the image. So it gives you a sense of that reality through the color and the title and the sound.
How do you produce these records? Are you involved in the production and marketing yourself independently?
No.
Or how does it work?
I just get a sound tape. I send the tape off and ask for a certain number of records.
Where do you have them made?
In Los Angeles. It's the only place that I can get color.
Can they make any color that you want?
Pretty much. I mean, I think I got the range of the colors that they can make. And it's very important that they're colors, that they're not just black records.
Right.
So it makes each one a specific object that you can touch and manipulate, control the volume.
Right. Some of them are black, though, aren't they?
Only one is black. 3 felled trees looks black, but it's actually green.
Green.
Yeah.
And some are transparent. And some aren't,
I have no control over that, though.
Are these all the colors that are available? So you've exhausted?
Pretty much, pretty much. Except like the burning forest. I mean, that's kind of like a marble effect, and I can get more.
Marbleized? Of any color?
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you think you'll make more records?
Yes, I am.
Will they be colored? So will they repeat these colors?
Yes, like I'm doing one of 2 fencers, and one side has the soundtrack. Has a soundtrack of music, filmic music, like suspenseful music. Music that you'd see in a film with Errol Flynn or something, And the other side would be 2 fencers actually clicking the swords, and you hear the footsteps. So that one side becomes the illusion for the other. There's no real side 1 or 2.
So that's adding another dimension to it. Are these all one-sided records?
No, some of them are 2 and some of them are 1. Like a German Shepherd is one side because I wanted it to be very frontal, like the film, like the dog is barking at you, rather than around you.
But the ones that are 2-sided have the same sound on both sides?
Pretty much, yeah. Like the tornado, for instance, has 3 minutes on one side and maybe 2.5 minutes on the other side, so it's dimensional.
How many films did you make before you got into records?
About 30 to 40 films.
30 to 40 films. Are they mostly short films?
Yes,
too?
yes. Anywhere from 20 seconds to 7 minutes.
Are you still making films now?
Yes. But in this particular case, these were really images that I wanted to work with in films. Like the 2 wrestling cats, I wanted to make a film of 2 animals fighting. So it was a way for me to sort of like move a lot faster and get through more ideas by making records, because the films are very expensive to do. And I wanted to do a film of the wind, for instance. And it seemed to work so much better as a record, a transparent record.
How are these marketed, these records?
They're not.
They're not
I
at
haven't
all?
marketed them at all.
Do you plan to sell them?
Yes, but it's, I don't really know.
You don't know?
No, I mean, I didn't make them to sell them. I happened to make 100 of each only because it was a small enough edition and it was cheap enough that it was worth doing 100,
Mm-hmm. So are you interested in selling your work or not?
No.
You're not?
I mean, I'd like to. But I don't care.
What do you see as the form in which the record should be listened to and seen?
What do you mean?
How should someone hear it? How will people be exposed to them?
I mean, it's all about the viewer having some control over that image, handling the record as an object, as an art object,
Will they be, could they be played in a gallery, or will you?
Oh, of course, yeah.
What about your films? What do you see as the ideal situation that your film should be shown in? In a gallery situation?
Primarily a gallery situation, because of the space. Because it's intimate enough that you have direct contact with the image. I mean, like in a theater or something, the image is so overblown that there's a real distance created that I don't like.
Do you think that the gallery context is more open now to showing films?
No.
They're not that interested in films at this point? So is there any market?
There's no market.
For an artist's films?
No.
None?
No, not at all.
But you have had some showings of your films, right?
Yes.
Where have they been shown?
In Germany. They're going to be shown in Switzerland in April.
What places?
The University of Geneva in Switzerland, the Berlin Festival in the fall, last fall, in Bremerhaven, Germany. That was in October. And they've been shown in Milan.
Weren't they shown in New York?
And they were shown in New York.
Where was that?
Artist Space.
How did you, so there seems to be more interest in your work in Europe?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
It seems like the galleries in New York are very much into commodities, objects that can be sold. And it's very difficult to sell film. And it appears that Europeans seem to be much more sensitive to the nature of film, the fact that they could show it in a gallery situation and not feel uptight about having to sell it. And there are just more galleries over there. Because when we talk about New York, we're talking about one particular place. When we talk about Europe, we're speaking about, many countries. 3 fell trees. Now you have to turn the record over for the second tree to fall. So if you don't want it to fall, you don't turn it over. So it gives you some sense of control. That's 3 fell trees.
That's beautiful. When did you start making art?
I started I started art school in 1966. I was involved in using materials, like lumber, kind of commercial materials.
Do you think that's similar to the way that you use vinyl now?
No,
Okay.
no.
Was it
I mean, I was involved with materials that, in a sense, defined a space.
Mm-hmm.
And there was always like a lot of tension in the actual pieces. It was all about you moving around those pieces in some very lyrical way.
About people interacting with those materials?
Yeah, pretty much, but in a very kind of personal way. I mean, from there I got involved with film, just because I felt like there was like more room for me to kind of like work in an area that just wasn't so used up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just not weighted down with a lot of history, a lot of connotations.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed very fresh to me.
As an artist working in film, do you feel that you have to cope with the history of film as it's been used by non-artists, or not?
I'm not involved in the history of film in any way. You know, I know very little about the history of film.
So you don't feel that the fact that film has a history affects your work?
No, not at all. I'm involved in something very different. I just happen to be using film.
Mm-hmm. In what ways do you think you use film differently than traditional filmmakers?
Well, because I'm involved with objects.
And
they're essentially located objects inside that frame, and it's about my manipulation of those objects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, it comes out of a very specific art context.
So is that the sense in which your films are sculptural?
Yes, very.
Are the records sculptural too?
Extremely. They're all very physical. They're all like very physical activities. And it's all about a relationship between you and that physical activity.
How is the person brought into relationship with it?
Because the person handles the record.
Mm-hmm.
The person has control over the volume of the record.
Mm-hmm.
The person has control over whether he, let's say, wants the Two Wrestling Cats to continue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can stop it at any point. This record is called The Dying Wind, and it's transparent. The wind has died. The lost ocean liner. I feel so close to the lost ocean liner, I can't even tell you. It's my most personal record.
Why is that?
Because it's how I feel. It's all real autobiographical. All these images are extremely personal to me.
You've experienced each of these records.
Completely.